going to be talking about some features of our level editor. So first, we're going to start off with what they have in their current engine and how they created it. So here we are in one of their latest levels. And you can see that there are some walls, there's a floor, and there's some other things moving around. So everything in here was placed manually with text files. So like they had to go in and locate everything and write out the correct X, Y, and Z coordinates like every time. And so if we want to see an example of that, we have this. So they would have to write in all of these correctly every time. It's very manual and tedious, and it's easy to mess up. So the goal with the level editor was to make it as easy as possible for them to start moving things around a lot better. So now if we reload this scene into the editor version, we will see a much better view of what's going on with all of those things. So now we are connected. We can see that we are connected now. We can go ahead and open up the scene, open up demo level. It'll take just a second to load up all the stuff. We can see the giant list of entities loading. So now here we are inside where we just were. I think we were hanging out over here somewhere. Yep. So here's the little doggies. So now instead, we have a free camera, and we know we can just move around wherever we want, and just move things around. So we have a giant list of entities, so we can just like go around and click stuff. And when you pick one, it highlights, so we know what we're selecting. You can use keys to move it around. See, great. And we can see the values here. We have a giant list of all properties on the object now. It's not in it's a very easy to edit format. You can just type it in, or you can actually just drag it. So if we want to move this guy, we can just drag him, drag his X value, or drag his Z value. He should be moving. Yeah, move him up and down. It's a much friendlier way to move stuff. Unfortunately, we can't test this live. We do have play testing, but this scene does not load correctly in our tester because of all these errors. We can see all these red and yellow errors, and this is because they've entered stuff incorrectly in their files and they didn't know it. So this tool also helps print out errors. It tries to detect every possible error that I can imagine people making, and it prints them out. And so we can't play test this level, but we will try that on another level here, and it's gonna crash here probably. Hey, it didn't crash. Sometimes it doesn't. So let's load a scene that does test. This is another one they were testing with collisions, and so we can do a play test on this scene. What a play test does is it shuts down the editor and loads it into what the user would see. And so now we are locked, our controls are gone, and all we can do is move this thing around and try colliding with stuff. So we can back out of that, we can back out of it and go back to our editor view to continue moving things around. So we can like move this cube around, we can just move him over here and play test again. And so now he should be at the top left and he should fall. Yep, now he's way over there. So it gives them a much easier way to visually interact with what they're editing. So as well as moving things around, you can create new objects. So we're going to create a new box. So let's create a new box. Let's call him Bob, because Bob's really cool. Great. Bob is empty. For Bob to show up in the world, he needs a position, and he needs a model, so he is visible. Bob should now exist, and we can just, yep, there he is. We can move Bob in the back. And so as we're getting more assets, we can hopefully change his model. Can we make him a dolphin? Yes. Now Bob is a dolphin. Great. So when we hit playtest, this should hopefully keep everything we have. And Bob, yep, Bob is in the back left there. Great. So it just shows that we can dynamically do stuff in the editor that would have taken probably 15 minutes for them to do manually, because they have to create all of these components manually into their JSON files, and it gets very tedious. And we can make that just as easy as a click of a button here. And if you experience some kind of bug in your editor, as this will probably crash in just like 5 seconds, we have a nice report a bug feature here. We have a nice bug report form. What happened? It crashed. What did you expect to happen? Not crash. How can we produce it? Run the engine. Great. And when you hit submit, boop, we get a message over on our Discord. It tags us. It doesn't. So we get a message here. It crashed. Yay, it crashed. And we get a log to the a link to the log, which gets uploaded online, so we can look at everything that there may have been some weird message in here that would have flagged this, that we can understand. So we get all bug reports. That's great. We are working on documentation so that if you don't know what something does, you can come look for help. So we have some we're starting the documentation in here. Like, you may want to look up how the camera controls work. We have good documentation in here for what keys do what. Not everything is complete, but we are working on it. So this console, not only do you get a lot of information out of the scene, see all this information came from the scene, you can request information from the scene. So we can, it's a fully interactive Lua console, so you can run code in here. So we can like return strings, or we can return specific entities out of the scene manually. So we can, this is a entity here that we can see. It's a table, but it's got data on it. So if you knew what you were looking for, you can request data out of it dynamically while it's running. So our editor system, this window can update itself. We have an auto updater. You can click check for updates. It'll check for updates. Does exactly that. And there's resources for the engine that are required to run, which includes like our networking and all these background things going on that make all of it work. And so those will both always stay up to date, so they don't have to worry about trying to, you know, keep up to date with anything. They just click a button and it will automatically be up to date.